Is there anybody out there? Boy, that's a big delay. Wow, that's a 20-second delay on that. Wow, that's crazy. Okay. Hello, everybody. Wouldn't be my live stream if I wasn't doing some last minute stuff. How's everyone doing today? Curious to see if we're going to get some extra people coming in Friday at 3 versus Saturday. I know here we are having a scorcher of a day with special heat warnings and triple-digit heat index, but that's about what it is everywhere across the country, isn't it? Well, I know some places are actually starting to get into autumn, but those are the places that have super long winters, that have a lot of snow, that we might not all want to go to. Let's see if we zoom in a little bit. There we go. Well, here we are. Hello, everybody. Marion, you made it. Woohoo! Minnesota. Now, Candy, are you starting to get your fall weather, or is it still hot and warm in Minnesota? Oh, the YouTube's reminder feature. Isn't that very helpful? I use that for other people's lives, but for myself, I set an alarm on my phone, especially with this new 3 o'clock thing, because I could really get into several projects, lose track of time, and never show up for my own live stream. That would be a kicker. It is 10 minutes to 3 for everyone on the replay. As usual, I like to let you know. So if you want to fast forward a little bit, we're just going to do a little chitty chatty. Candy, thank you so much. Oh, it's hot. Minnesota, Minnesota, Minnesota. Yeah, you guys have been having a lot of hot summers lately. Now, Arizona, we know Sharon's hot over where she's at. I just checked, I think it said it was 94 with a heat index of 103. So we're getting, like most places, you get really hot between like 2 and 5. More from Arizona. Hello everyone, good afternoon. I brought out some of my totes for the pictures. Oh, Candy, that's okay. It doesn't go too fast here. You might be able to keep up. What I do personally is I watch it on either the TV or my little tablet, and I use my phone to chat with people because I find I can chat faster and get the words even closer to being spelled right, if not, you know, perfect, on my phone than I can if I'm trying to do it on the tablet. Oxford, England. Good morning, Lucy. I heard you guys are starting to get a little normal weather back. You guys had it pretty hot there for a while. This one's my favorite. I'll put it on top. California. Susie, what's your temperature over there? So you're what, about noon over there now? UK. I love live streams because people from all over the world can come and hang out. No matter where you live. And you can wear your jammies if you want to. Several of you use the speech to text. I haven't tried that out. That's nice, Lucy. I watch a few different people over in the UK, and for a while there, you guys were having some really warm weather. Warm weather for you. I would love some of your warm weather. wet and humid. Hello in New Jersey. New Jersey, you guys just had some storms go through. And the East Coast, you're getting that one hurricane or tropical storm or whatever that I'm not getting. Normally, everyone's looking at Florida, Texas, you know, the Gulf Coast states for the hurricanes to come through. But every now and then, one will sneak up and get you guys up there. Italy was very hot. I always think of the beauty over in the other, you know, internationally, other parts of the world. I don't want to just say the UK, but everywhere over there, I always think about the beauty, but I never think about the weather, except Scotland. You hear it's rainy there all the time. But Italy sounds like it would get pretty hot over there based on what they grow and the way you see the people dressed and stuff. We've got a lot of heat coming up because the Saharan dust storms are coming over again, which is great during hurricane season because when you have the Saharan dust, you don't really get the hurricanes that come through. But hello from Louisiana. But after the dust comes through, it seems to just like suck those storms and just bring them right over. We don't get any rain during that Saharan dust storms, but it's okay because we've had plenty of rain lately. Yeah, health issues can really mess up with a lot of things. Things you don't realize that it would affect, and it does. Oh, this is like at the end of my sewing day. I usually close up the shop at 4. So I'm kind of winding down today, and I'm like, now I got to wind back up. So I kind of like this. We're going to make Frankentotes today. I've had some requests for how to actually make the Frankentote. And once I tell y'all how to do it and show you, you'll be like, oh, duh, yeah, we could figure that out. So I just think sometimes you have to get your head wrapped around. Like some people who only follow patterns get a little bit nervous. They get a little bit worried about putting pieces together the right way or the wrong way. But what we're doing today is just kind of like free form quilt block piecing, whatever. Franken piece the batting. We're going to Franken piece the outer panels and stuff. So whatever you end up with, you end up with. So we're going to pick a number. And we're going to build creatively until we get to that number. I don't follow patterns either. I either don't have what they want, or I don't like what they want, or I don't understand what they want, so I just do what I want. When it comes to certain things, as long as it all fits together, I don't see the reason why you can't have a little creative fluctuations and do it the way you want. Hello from Kentucky. Ugh, Candy loves to sleep. I'd love some naps too. I wish I could just do, okay, you're going to nap for 20 minutes from this time to this time. You're going to get up, you're going to be rejuvenated, and then finish your day. But that never works that way. I put my head down I used to nap for like 20 minutes when I was younger and the kids were younger. Now, if I close my eyes, sometimes it's an hour or 2 hours later I wake up. Oh, yes, it's coming up time for missionary trips for everybody. But the thing with the alarm, Lucy, is you know that you could easily just turn it off and nothing would happen. So you have to actually motivate. So I find that I just suck it up and I work through my day, and then after dinner when I sit down in my chair and relax, if I fall asleep, I fall asleep. At that point, it's just me, and the cats are sleeping anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I do love the value of alarms for when you're like working, and you know you're going to do. Yeah, if it takes you 20 minutes to fall asleep, then it takes you 20 minutes to motivate after you've fallen asleep, you're already far into it that sometimes it's better off to just keep going. When we get a little bit after 3, I'll show you the stuff that I pulled out and we'll really get into what we're going to make. But For me, I'm considering a Frankentote too. Anything you piece together it's a, okay, this, I just made a big log cabin. I can call it a log cabin quilted tote, but it's more fun to call it a Frankentote because I took a whole bunch of pieces and I stuck them all together and created the tote. So I like that name a lot better. Some of them I did use, you know, quilt blocks and stuff like that. But I think just calling it a Frankentote is just fun. I really like just all the straps. Yeah, push the snooze button a few more times. So then it's like you're gonna snooze. My son Robbie used to do it all the time. He'd snooze for 9 minutes. I'm like, why don't you just set your alarm a half hour later instead of waking up every 9 minutes by that darn alarm? He said it's because I feel like I'm getting away with something, that if I hit the snooze on the alarm and I go back to sleep, that I'm winning at the imaginary game. I'm like, okay, whatever works for you. Want to see what I was working on before we started the live stream? Yeah, when I have to get up in the morning, Lucy, that's what I do. The alarm is on the other side because I've turned it off before in my sleep and not even remembered waking it up. So if I know I have to get up, the alarm is across the room. So for the last few days, on and off, I've been working on these fun little zipper pouches. So there's the front. These aren't actually salvages. It is salvages, but it's one piece of printed fabric. And I made these fun little straps to go to it, so they're going to be little zipper pouches. And I have an actual little tassel that matches too. Hello, hello everybody. Oh, gonna lose my little jump ring. It's very, very precious fabric that I don't pull out very often. But I thought it was just make a nice little fun zipper pouch. White lining. That's what I was working on when it came close to turning off everything for the live stream. I have 4 of them. Halloween, yeah. I do have that stack of Halloween bags I haven't sewn yet. I have that stack just sitting here waiting for me. I'll get to it. I'll get to it. Hello to all the new people that are coming in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to get started. Hello, Terry from Canada. In just a little bit, give everyone a couple more minutes to find the alert and to pop in. You think you're getting away with something? Yes. Thank you, Teresa. I'm also feeling the crave to make some more, and I also need to make some more of the scrappy note cards, and I want to make some more fabric postcards. I haven't made any of those in a long time, so I'm feeling a little bit behind. Oh, I do. I love these, yes. These are going to make a really cute bag. We were almost going to work on these today, but I thought we would go ahead and work with the ones that I just did in the tutorial. When I did the tutorial, I had that head cold, and I thought I was doing really good, that I made an amazing, you know, not amazing, but you know, I made an amazing tutorial. I thought everything was going good. And I thought, wow, look, I got it edited and put up, and no one said anything, there was anything wrong. And then someone mentioned that I didn't show the part on how to actually trim up the blocks into what size. I'm like, darn it. And I know I had that in there too, because that was a good part of the video. So if you guys haven't seen it, this is the 3rd video you're going to get today. You have your one at 9 o'clock that was piecing the batting in that swirly, swishy fashion. And then at noon my time, I put up the video on how to trim these blocks, which was part of last week's tutorial that you didn't get, and now you're getting a live stream. Thanks, Lucy. It's just that my list of what I want to do is always so big that I run out of time. I run out of energy. I was thinking I haven't put anything in the shop in a little bit. I mean, I was putting in a tote a week, and then I have the wallets and stuff like that. But the holidays are coming, so I need to get on that. I was thinking I'd make some quick zipper pouches to put into the shop. Sue made it. Jody made it. Everyone made it. End the day. Excuse me while I yawn. I'm going to go put these into the bin for the shop so that they don't get destroyed. But we are going to talk about Frankentotes today, and that's basically just about piecing the totes, and we're going to get into it. I just want to put these away so I don't spill anything on them or accidentally cut anything. Alright, thankfully it's just next door. Now I am making 4 of these totes, these zipper pouches. So if anyone's interested, I will have one going in the shop. And if there are more than one person that would like these, just send me a message on Etsy or an email at RsIslandCrafts@gmail.com, as always listed down below in the description box. I just like saying it that way. And I'll make some more, but I don't want to cut into this just for fun if nobody wants them. So if you request them, I can make some like this. Yep, I have enough of this fabric too if you want the same color. Or you could try requesting the back of the color. And if I have a color that'll work for you, I'll do that too. You guys know I'm flexible that way. Okay. Trying to get this all untwisted. There we go. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about Frankentotes. Hi, Jackie. Before we get too far into it, I want to put out a request. If anyone who's listening now or who's coming in later as a replay, I'm looking for a couple more moderators that would come and hang out during some of the live streams. The responsibility of a moderator is just to check to make sure. I don't think we see too many trolls that come in, right, guys? You guys don't have to deal with that too often. But if someone in the if I get my brain and my tongue to work together, if someone in the chats leaves a question or something, you guys can either let me know there's a question, try to catch my eye by typing in all capitals, or you can answer. Anyone can answer questions in the chat box, of course. But it just kind of helps out, because sometimes YouTube, if you'll say, hey Robin, how's your cat? YouTube will put it as spam, and then a moderator will have to approve it before it can be posted, which I don't understand why it has some of those really weird ones. It's been pretty good, Sue. Thank you. So I'm just looking for a couple ones. You don't have to be here every live stream, just so that we have a nice variety to choose from. So if 1, 2, or 3 of you can't make it, then maybe 1, 2, 3 of the extra people will be able to, pop in and out. If not, then we'll just go ahead and make it. But if you do want to, just let me know. Send me an email or something like that. And if I recognize your name and I can figure out who you are, I shall approve you. Let me get a drink before I get going. Okay, Frankentotes. Thank you, Candy. I have come a long way. I found a way to organize myself and my life that mostly works, and I only forget about 1/3 of the things instead of 2/3 of the things, so it's been pretty good. Frankentote, you guys have seen the ones that I have pieced in the past, the ones that I just took out of here. And basically all it is when you're taking a whole bunch of components and you're piecing them together to create a tote bag. Now they could be just purely a whole bunch of scraps. If we just take a whole bunch of 30 fabrics and put it together, I'm going to consider that a Frankentote. Since it's pretty much a made-up word, I saw that one lady in a blog post talk about her Franken bag. the idea of using a Frankentote since we're making tote bags, and I just kind of like the way that sounds. I went ahead and, you know, just changed it up a little bit and borrowed it from her. So that way we can do whatever we want. We can call it whatever we want and make it whatever we want. So as long as I'm sewing pieces together, like Frankenstein's monster was sewn together, I'm calling it a Frankentote. Now today, what I did over the week is I went through and I pulled out a whole bunch of different things. Now for the Frankentotes, I like to take some old quilt blocks if I happen to have them. And then I can use that as my foundation. I'm using these since we had just done that tutorial, so it gives an idea of people what they can do with them. But as I was going through, I found some of these different quilt blocks. This is from the O Cheerio quilt line from like, I don't know, 2009 or something like that. But I have these leftover ones from a baby quilt that I put together. I think I must have been doing like a disappearing 9 patch or something along those lines. Nope, some type of log cabin. So I could take these and start it off, and I could say, okay, well, I have these blocks. Let me pull colors off of this, or I can decide to use contrast colors to make it pop out, and I can just start building my panels off of it. So I found those. I showed you guys all that one bag of quilt blocks that I had from before. Those were pretty much bigger ones. But I have some extra pieces that were cut off from when doing like 9 patches. When you sew a whole bunch of strips together, little bits like this. I have some strips from like Halloween ones. These you can also consider if you use like the calculator strips. I have a bag that I just have labeled miscellaneous quilt blocks. So I have things like this that I was made. Aw, Sue. You're too hard on yourself. That's what the thing is. Sometimes we are just too hard on ourselves. Say you even just have a whole bunch of 2.5-inch squares that you stitch together and you have done nothing with them because you're doing like leaders or enders or something. You can use that. I have these fun blocks to go off of if I want to. But I'm looking for something right now. These are a lot of children novelty type stuff. And I think a lot of this stuff I'm probably just going to put into a package and either send it off or put it in my shop. So when I was going 4-patch crazy trying to do that leader ender thing. Yeah, just orphan blocks. Whatever type of orphan blocks you have, find something that you enjoy. You made it once, so you must have loved it at that time. Now since I am using these blocks, I have these. And I thought at first, well, I thought it might be fun to take some of my scrappy crumb type blocks and I was going to do half square triangles with this black fabric. But then I don't know, I don't really like that black with it. So I changed my mind up a little bit there. I made some little 4 patches. This fabric has got purple and pink in it, so I thought that would be good. And this is a gray, even though it's a different gray, it's still gray. I found this in my scrap bin. I made some calculator strip papers, so I could play with those also. And then when I was going through all those little orphan type blocks, these are from Disappearing 9 Patches. The half square triangle. I have some strips, but it has pink in it, and it's mostly all pink. So I thought that I could pull that in and use that. And then if I wanted to bring some white in to brighten it up, I have this white that has the little gray sun wheel thingies on it. So I thought, well, I can bring that in. So now that we've pulled all these components together, what do? You can do like I do and just build until you've gotten a size that works for the shapes. Since I'm already starting out with these, I know that these already measure 10.5 inches square. So if I wanted to go ahead and put, even if I decided to use these, if I put these along it, then I know that would already put me to 14 inches right there. Now you have to remember when you're making a tote bag that there's borders. If you make the one that's all the same fabric and you don't put a contrast on the bottom, when you sew it together, remember we're going to put half of it's going to go on the sides, these little bits over here. I use a 2.5 inch, when I cut out the little squares on the bottom of my tote bags, they're 2.5 inches. So I know I'm going to lose 2.5 inches on the side and on the bottom. So if this were my entire tote panel, then I'm going to lose that. So I don't want to lose my X at all. So I know I don't want to put this all the way over to my left, and I don't want to bring it all the way down to my bottom. So I want to build out on this, and I want to think about this. So if this is 10.5 inches, and I want to go to 16.5 to 18.5 inches for a big tote. So what I can do, I saw this on a crafty class once too, when they were doing like more like crumb pieces and piecing those all together. They went ahead and they taped off, I think she was doing like a 17 inches, so she taped off 17 inches in the center of her cutting mat, and that way she can lay her fabrics in and audition it. I'm not going to bother taping it off because I can just slide it over. If I had a really large cutting mat, I might want to put a little bit of something in the center to mark it off. But I can just put this over here in my bottom left corner, and I can say, okay, I'm 10.5. What do I want to have on the side? I'm going to have about a 2.5 inch gusset. I have words. So I'm going to slide this over. I'm going to put it over about 3 inches. So I'm going to put a 2.5, I'm going to probably sew in a 3-inch strip, make it 2.5 inches. So I'm going to need that border there. Then if I have a border over here of another 2.5 inches, that's going to put me at 15.5 inches. So there I have a tote right there that's 15.5 inches. So I could easily just border it up with the proper size strips and say that I'm done. Then I can worry about my bottom and my top. But if I want to have, thanks Jackie, I want to have a little bit of fun, I don't want to lose my pieces. Maybe what I want to do is put a narrow strip right here. So maybe I want to put a 1-inch strip, which would mean I'd have to sew it at about, cut it at about 1.5 inches. So when I sew it in, hey Lisa, you made it. Thanks, Marion. So you can put that little strip here. You figure about a 1-inch strip after it's all been stitched. So that's going to bring me over. So that puts me at 14 inches, give or take. So then I can decide if I want to put anything over. So maybe I don't care if these go along to the side, because that would make a really cool side to the bag if it had that panel going down it. So you can do all these kind of crazy measurements and figure it out, or you can just go crazy and sew everything together and see what happens. You can keep building this out as you go. Sorry guys, really dry today. So like I said, it's the end of the day and it's kind of hot out. I know some people don't like to hear people drinking, so my apologies. But maybe I want to put this as my side seam, so I do put it over there. I can put this right up next to this guy. I even almost made it just the right length too, imagine that. And I have two sides, so whatever I do on the front, I don't have to do it on the back. I'm going to consider these like little art quilts, little mini wall hangings, and I'm going to go ahead and make one side and then make the other. I do like to have them match color coordinated, so if I did a blue side, I probably wouldn't do an orange side. But maybe if you're doing Christmas, you can do a red side and a green side. Hey, it's your, your little project. You can make it any way you want. Or you can just totally take the easy way out and get some of those little panels and put them there. And just use that as the side as your tote. So let me see, now that I have this here, I'm not really sure I like the white and gray. I was thinking that I wanted something really sharp. So I think I want to pull out a straight white and see what that looks like. Which makes having these little scrappy bins here in the craft room really good. So I have this right up in your face. There you go, that white on white. Just like when you're deciding on the borders and the binding for your quilt, it's kind of the same way. At least for me, it's the same way. See, I like that contrast with the pure white there, really nice. And I could have these little 4 patches. Let's see what these look like now. Do you think, I don't know if that black looks any better now. No, I think that the black I chose just doesn't work. Or I could just bring in a solid color and I could put solids in here. So if I want to maybe frame it out, I can do that. But this is just something I like to sit down, I pop in a movie or something, and I just start with one piece and I keep piecing it until I go. That block has a little bit of yellow in it too. It was just hitting it with the lights. Maybe that's what we need, a little light down here. There we go. Put a little light on the scene. Just not in my face. Do I have a purple? No, I don't have any purple, Sue. You think I should put a purple there? You think I should have put a purple instead of the white? Because I have a purple, I have a white, I have a dark purple, I have this really pretty fun one, but I'm saving this for something special. I don't want to use that yet. But I have a lot of fun purples. I have this pinky purple. Hold on. Mulberry raspberry? Gosh, I don't know what mulberry raspberry looks like. You're asking a little bit too much of me, Jackie. Then, I don't have enough of this, but is this mulberry raspberry? I mean, I could put it in somewhere, put a narrow strip on one side. This would be fun. I don't have enough of that either, though. I have this very pretty fabric. Sparkles with gold. You think the white is too stark? You like the dark pink near the center. Oh, that with the flowers? Are you talking this right here? Okay, hold on. I gotta go in the other room. I think I might have more of that in this bin. I think I like the white with the calculator tape piece, but try the purple. What about the purple, then the white, and then the calculator strips? Okay, hold on. Let's see what we have here. I have this super dark purple too. I don't think I have any of that left. I think that's why it's in there. Oh wait, hold on, what is that? Is that from that quilt? We're gonna have the whole fabric room over in here before we're done. Let me see. Nope, that wasn't in this quilt. I do have this though. Okay. I like the purple than the calculator fabric strips. I think if I had to choose a purple, I think I would choose this one. This one. This one's really nice too. This one blends so it's not too in your face. So if you guys don't like the stark contrast, I do like how this one blends in nicely. The purple by my mouse, that one's nice too, yes. I like that one. That's that blender purple. I think I have a very light purple. Do you think we need a light purple? Okay, so someone like this. Somebody like this. I like this. This can go. This can go. Nobody likes my white. Now remember, we have two sides, so whatever we do on one side, we can always do the totally opposite. So after we're only going to make one side today, and if I decide I like the white, and since you guys won't be here with me, I can do whatever I want. Nobody will ever notice. I can put the white on the other side. We don't like this. Get that out of here. Take all these purples, put them back on the shelf. Now because it has a pink here, I definitely don't want to put... You think the white makes it look washed out? I wonder if it's just because if it's in the camera. Whatever we're going to do, it's going to be a very narrow strip anyways. It's only going to be a 1 inch. I'm going to cut it at 1.5, maybe 2 inches, and then it's just going to be a narrow strip. Okay, so we have this. We have this. So that would put the pink next to the pink, but it does stand out enough. So if we want it to blend, I say we go with this. If we want it to be calm, I say we go with this. And if we want to have a deep contrast, we go with this. So we got left, right, and bottom. Yeah, it's going to be a thinner strip, at least on two sides, or at least on one side. I said I don't want this block to go around the corner into the side of the bag. The bottom, bottom, bottom. Mary George, I love you. You're my favorite. No, you said bottom. Who said right? Sue, you're my favorite. I like the one on the right. We'll put this one in, but I like this one. Y'all can be like your favorite child. Everyone is my favorite. A thin strip of the gray. We can only do thin strips because I don't have much of that gray left. We are talking definitely scraps. So we put a thin strip. That's what I thought about when I talked about the video before. If we put a thin strip, and then say we choose to put the calculator tape. That's what that's going to look like if we do that. This gray strip would definitely frame it and make it become border. And then if we choose to use the purples instead, then instead of it becoming a border, it becomes more of a highlight or a contrast. Where are my purple strips? But this is basically what Franken piecing is you're just going to audition stuff and build it out. And you know what's really good is when I cut these 4 patches, they should have been 3.5 inches, but I couldn't get it. They weren't all even when I cut them out, so when I trimmed them, I just trimmed them to 3.25. Now, when you're doing quilting, 3.25 is hard to work into a quilt project because of the way the math is with certain blocks. But because we're Franken piecing, I can do anything I want. Oh no, Hazel's buffing. Darn it. The gray with the, all right, so who likes the gray with the calculator tape or the purple on the right or purple on the bottom? I'll let you guys choose the block and we'll just go ahead and make it based on whatever you decide. Because I can add in more gray with the calculator. Because we're gonna have to build it out a little bit more. I'm probably gonna put the calculator on the sides, but then at the top and the bottom, I might want something different. All three, you know, that actually works too. We can do all three. I like to put a heavier, darker color on the bottom of the bag, even if I'm not making that contrast bottom, where you know how you have like you might have a blue bag and then it has like a dark black bottom to it. So I kind of like to have that dark color on the bottom. So we all like the gray, so I should probably start cutting some gray. So we'll frame out the entire thing with gray and then we'll see what size our block is at that point. So let me move these out of the way. Put you away. Come out and play another day. Let me put this back in the other room so the cats don't get it. So if you don't have a perfect 1/4 inch seam, it doesn't matter. Pieces, that won't work. You're just putting together like a jigsaw puzzle, so however it goes together for you, then that's how it's gonna work. You just wanna create a panel for your tote bag that stays together. Elizabeth likes the dark purple and the calculator strips. I think we'll do the gray all the way around on this side. All right, let's make a big decision right here. One side is going to be this block. One side is going to have a block. We're going to border it with the gray. So do we, and the other block we're just going to put whatever colors with. So do we do, the X with the gray border or the O with the gray border? See, can we see how that looks? The X, that's what I was thinking too, the X, yeah. The gray numbs it down. That's a new one, Hazel, I like that. It calms it down, but I like numbs it down. Patricia, I'm going to let everyone else answer that. You can just get, in my opinion, just a basic simple brother. They have them on Amazon for a little over $100. I'm not a sewing machine gal, so I'm going to leave it to everyone else to make that decision. So we're going to do the X, excuse me for a second. We're going to do the X and border that in gray. Move all of this out of the way. Hold off on the purples. And with these Frankentotes, yeah, I like the dark purple. But what we're going to do is we're going to put the gray border on it, and then we'll talk about putting the calculator strips on the side. But I think on the bottom, I want the calculator strips to go all the way up. Put a piece of fabric here and a piece of fabric there, but we'll have to audition it and see what it looks like. First, I need to press this. You know, sometimes when we're doing quilts and we don't want to have too many seams in it, now I have this little piece that it measures almost 2 inches, 1 inch and 7/8 as a matter of fact. I could put another seam down here and piece it. I don't mind having 3. Oh, thanks, Sue. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And I think that because of the way I densely quilt mine and I do the straight matchstick quilting down all like that, that if I have some extra pieces here, I don't care, because look at all the seams that I have throughout here. So these tote bags are a great way also to use up the little bits of fabric. I'm going to hold that guy off. I'm going to put him out of the way so that I don't lose him. Now, even if you're cutting, you're piecing, you're sewing, if all of that is, oh, great idea, Cindy. If all of your, whatever you're doing is a little bit off, it's going to be okay, because it's okay to have, if you're doing something specific, like you're doing this really complex Mariner's Compass star or something that's noticeable, okay, you probably want to do that one a little bit nicer, but even if you lose a few points on that, I still say it's okay in my opinion. You know, everyone has their own tolerance, but if you're just piecing it together, it doesn't really matter if all of your seams line up when none of your seams line up. So you're just puzzling it together to get it to work. Like when your kids were little and they went like this with the puzzle piece to make it fit, we're going to do the same thing. Okay, so we wanted a 1-inch strip to go around it, and if we do a 1/4 inch on either side, that gives us a 1.5 inch strip to cut. See how complicated that was? I had a basic Singer. Now, it all depends. Did we say it's a first-time machine? Because if you're just taking it to go camping, you want to be careful you don't ruin it. Yeah, so if you're a first-time sewer, then I think it's okay with a Singer. But me personally, once I started actually sewing things, I did not like my Singer. The basic one you get at like Walmart and stuff. That one I felt like it slowed me down. But maybe if I was only piecing, you know, scraps together or something, I don't know, that might be okay, but it didn't keep up with it. I couldn't get it to go fast enough. Yeah, so I would take your favorite sewing machine, your favorite brand, like you have a Janome brother. Okay, so if you have, say you are a Janome lover, I would just go and find the least expensive version of your favorite sewing machine. I love the Brothers and I love my Juki, so I would just find the least expensive version of that that's going to work for what I need. Because you already know that machine, that style of machine, the brand, you already know what buttons do what and how it works. And if you enjoy it, then I'd say, yeah, just go ahead and get that same machine. I also don't care too much about what thread I have in my machine color-wise. Today I'm using a silver. I really love piecing with the silver. It's not as bright as a white and it's not as dark as a gray. What blocks am I doing? All right, so we're going to put it around all 4 sides of this guy. Hello, Cheryl. Yeah, but Marion, she already has sewing machines. She just wants to take it camping and not cry if she spent $500 and it falls in the river. She just wants a cheap and expensive, but a good quality machine that's going to do what she wants. I like to put the smaller strip on top of the larger fabric. I don't know if anyone cares, but that's what I like to do. That way I have a little bit more control over seeing the edge, and I know this narrow strip is behaving. And I do the thing where you leave a little extra at the top and you leave a little extra at the bottom. As again, I'm not quilting, I'm not making everything perfect. I'm just making it to whatever, I'm just trying to build out my project. I have all of my feetsies out. Now this is a Brother CS6000i. It was I think it's supposed to be $4.99 on Amazon, but I got it for $150 and change or something. And it's a great little machine. Trim off the extra. Does everyone kind of get the idea? Ignore my advice. No, Marion, we're not going to ignore you. You just didn't know what the question was, what we were actually talking about. Totally understandable. Marion's 100% right, though. Get the best machine that you can afford when you first start out, because you don't want to outgrow it in 6 months and have to spend all that money again and possibly learn a new type of machine. All these pieces I'm going to save because I will definitely find a use for them somewhere else. And if I really want to use a fabric that doesn't quite work next to the other fabrics, I can use it for the handle. And who says you can't piece the lining? If you want to piece the lining, you can go ahead and do that too. I'm going to step over here and give this a good press. No sense bringing the iron over just for you guys to see me press a seam. Unless someone needs me to show them how I press a seam. I'm even going to be crazy and I'm not going to get out my ruler. I'm just going to trim these straight up. I love the free form of this and how, you guys know I don't follow with the quilt police anyways, but there are certain rules to quilting. Let's face it, we have to follow certain rules when it comes down to it. You can't just do anything. You have to sew things that they're going to stay together and stuff like that. But this really lets me do whatever I want. So I'll check and see if this is going to be long enough. Yes, ma'am. And how about this one? That one too. Worked out good. Oh, that would be perfect. Plus it would be bright pink. How fun would that be to be sitting outside or in the camper sewing and you're on this nice bright pink machine? Cutting and stitching abilities aren't too good because you're new or because maybe you have some arthritis or some nerve issues and your hands kind of do weird things, I would go ahead and cut my strips. If I knew I had to absolutely gotta get a 1 inch, I would cut it 2 inches. So then after it's down, you can go ahead and trim it and then put the others, whatever else you want on it. Because I know sometimes people have a little bit of a, okay, let's face it, sometimes I have a little bit of a wave. And things don't actually go the way I expected them to. It happens. Which is why I love the freeform part of this style. I make quilts like this. I don't care. I make quilts like this. But I like the tote bag because it's just this little piece of art that you can carry around with you. And when you're all done, you can even add more to it. You can add ribbons and beads and buttons and all kinds of stuff. Did anyone watch Lisa Capon Quilts live today? She made a denim tote bag with an adorable sewing machine on the front or on one side, and she took the pockets from jeans and put half doilies on it and added all that in. It was the cutest bag. Let me press this. I love my little brother's sewing machine, and if I, you know, knock on wood, I don't want to, but if I had to get something else, or if I knew I was sending my quilts out to a long armor or long arming them myself, I think it's a perfect little sewing machine for piecing and stuff like that. I live dangerously. I try. I don't have it in me to there's so many things to stress about in life that I just can't worry about this. I can't let my crafty enjoyment, my relaxing time just turn into something stressful. It's not fun. And I don't want to take that away. Lisa Capon Quilts. Let me see if I can, you know, these things are capable, but now we just have to see if Robin's capable. I'll put a link in for you. Lisa goes live a lot, and if I was paying attention enough to know that it's on certain days, sometimes she goes live all week, and sometimes it's on Tuesdays, sometimes it's on Fridays, so I don't know. Oh look, there I am. It's easier to search than to find it in my history. I've watched several things since then. Oh, it's not going to do it. Find me that way. Oh. History. I can't see what you're typing, but I'll be there in a second. Here we go. Beginner Upcycle Denim Tote Live Tutorial. And what's even better is she's so sweet, she linked to my little zipper coin purses that I did recently. There you are. Yes, it would. And even if you don't want to insert it, you can applique it onto top, you know. You could, of course, sew denim all the way around this, or you can do the thing where you sew just like maybe a white fabric on the back, leave a little opening, turn it around, and, you know, press it all the way around, then sew it down. That way you wouldn't have any raw edges. Or you can do any type of form of applique. But she has a pattern for the sewing machine. It's an applique pattern. It's for like a mug rug, but she blew it up for everyone that you could buy on Etsy. And I think it was just a great sewing machine to have on it. You're welcome. There we go. I think you guys were right to put the gray around it. Now I do like to have that little lopsided bit. So maybe, all right, where are we at? We are at 12.5 inches. I don't mind going up to an 18.5 inch tote. After that, we're really just kind of getting into something big. 16.5 is never quite enough for me, but I think if I put the 2 inch on that side, we'll get 2.5, just to make sure it doesn't get in. I'd like to see, where's our calculator strips? These baskets are the greatest thing because you just toss things in it and then dig through it and find what you want. Hello, Cheryl. So then if we put this on one side and that's on the other, take off 1/2 inch. That would put us at 6. Hold on. This table's just not 3 of us. So if we did it like that, what do you think? So I do like that. This is probably going to get folded over. Let's see, that's, where am I at? I need to see numbers. This is 2 inches. So we'll lose a little bit of the gray on either side as it turns to the back. So we could end up with a very narrow strip on these sides like this. Just as a guess of what's going to happen when we sew the bottom and make the gussets. So that those could end up looking like that. Very narrow. So that's not too bad. But we need to put something on the bottom because, as I said, we're up to now, what, 12.5 inches? So I think we need to, we'll have to add some more down here. I don't want to have the gray and gray. I want to have it at the pink. So I'll just go ahead and pull these off. And when I sew that on, let me just go over here and sew for a second. So I don't have to keep moving everything back and forth. I think if you're stressing out while you're crafting, I 100% understand if you're trying to make something special for someone and you're trying to get it done in a certain amount of time and all of that. Like, I don't even have this pressed very well. So I understand that type of pressure, but if you're just sewing for fun and to make something or whatever, then if you're putting that much pressure on yourself, you can't be having fun. And how are we supposed to relax if we feel like the quilt police are following us? There is that. So then I will take that off here. Again, are you gonna... You don't see too many quilters. I have seen some quilters, but you don't see too many that are just like, we'll just rip it off, pull the seam like that. Who cares? You have to be able to relax and be stress-free. The width of my pinks and purples were, the widths of my purples were different. My pinks and gray were all the same width, so it ended up having it just a little bit different and add just enough little quirkiness without losing that pattern of pink, purple, gray, pink, purple, gray. Which I thought was pretty good. Okay, so if we add these on, you couldn't do that if you made your stitching too small, huh? I must have trimmed it a little wonky. I sewed on calculator paper so that there wouldn't be an issue, and yet I still ended up with an issue. I got a little bit of a wonky. I switched it so they weren't both gray at the top. If I do this one, where's this guy gonna end? They'll both end at pink on the bottom. I kind of like it not having the gray right at the top and bottom like that. Oh, Kathy. So we can do that now. We have to decide before I go and sew these on. I'd rather just sew everything on all at once. That's going to give us, as I said, about 16.5 inches. We can go right from the gray to these strips, or we can add another strip of maybe if we want to put in a purple now. So like we can bring in the purple I liked and put it in between the strips if we don't want to have it directly on the gray, or we can put in the darker purple. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm working on a littler screens here, so I don't know what you can see. So do we want to go gray right up to the strips, or do we want to add in a purple, whether we do the top or the bottom? You guys really liked this darker purple. I'm thinking just a little strip of dark purple up there, even if I cut it at maybe an inch, even down to 3/4 of an inch, just to put it down on either side to separate the calculator strips from this gray. Just always remember to move whatever it is. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, the dark purple. Remember to move whatever you're working on out of the way. Wonder if I have any narrow strips of this. See, this is why I told you guys I wanted to have my scraps over here so that I can just run over, grab something. Don't have to go to the other room all the time. Give it a good press. So we figured this is 12.5 inches. Make it a little bit longer. I go with 1 inch, that'll give me a 1/2 inch. I'm thinking almost to go to 3/4 of an inch. Sometimes this ruler confuses me with the numbers. So I'm going to take it to 3/4 of an inch. And that's going to give me just the narrowest highlight. There's one. The strangest house. Sometimes I just hear voices in the house, and there's like, because it's carrying from outside, but I know I can hear the voices as if someone was in my house. Kathy's still in rehab, but getting better every day. I love it. I love hearing that, Kathy. There we go. And ease on down the road. Alright, so we are going to put a narrow purple strip down each side, and then we are going to put the calculator strips definitely going to put this strip on top. Oh, do we have a birthday coming up this weekend? Let me make sure I'm at exactly 1/4 of an inch. I don't want to lose too much on this guy. Nope, lost my foot pedal. I always lose my foot pedal. For all the new people that have come in, first of all, welcome, welcome, welcome. Don't forget I put up, this is my 3rd video today, that when I did the X blocks tutorial for this, I didn't show you how to trim the blocks. Someone was kind enough in the comments to say, hey, you didn't tell us what size blocks or how to trim them. So that video went up around noon today. So if you haven't seen that, it might be a good idea to catch that one. I think I did a pretty darn good job with that part of the video, except, you know, I didn't show it to you. Oh, you know what I should have done is I should have sewn this right to the calculator tape. That would have made it much easier. Seems to be the season. Sometimes we all go through a season, and while one person has nothing to do with another person's, but it just sometimes you find that, you know, like 10 people that are having a tough time medically or personally, and then 6 months later, you know, all of your friends are fine, and then it just like starts over again. It's almost like it's contagious, even though everyone has something different going on. Doing these tote bags, besides, you know, just using your creativity and imagination, I think for me my best friend is the steam in my iron, because I steam everything. 48 fat quarters. Ooh. That's kind of fun though. I think if I had to only use one type of fabric, it would be fat quarters. I really like fat quarters. I'm just over here pressing. S'moresy's walking down the hall wondering who I'm talking to. Because I'm not talking to her. Okay, so I wanted to have it so it's not a gray at the top. Now in the next live, we are going to be putting the zipper in the lining. So if you guys work on your tote bags between now, when's the next live? September 3rd on Friday. Get your 2 outer panels all made and quilted or however it is you're going to do them. Then we can go ahead and put our lining in on the next live. For now, I really like, based on the things we're making, having the tutorial on Friday and the live in the afternoon. Thanks, Lucy. Oh, I'm going to do it this way this time. Make sure everything's good. This side will have a little bit of gray peeking in, I think. Yeah. That's okay. A little bit of gray won't be too bad. Everything's a little tight here because it's such a narrow strip, which is why I should have sewn it to the calculator strip first. But once I did the other panel, the other side that way, I'm like, I'm just going to do this side too. Not worrying too much about it. Oh, no. To 3? 7. Oh, Beverly, you guys must do numbers differently over there than here, because 3 or 7, he would be dead. I know when it gets down below in the low 40s or a little below, you can go into a coma. That's scary. Glad he's doing better. I hear thunder. We must have a storm coming. Let me just press this out and we'll take a look. I think I'm going to have to press it into the calculator strips because there's so little. Oh, that's going to be nice. That's going to be nice. I know it's not fair. You guys can't see it. You'll see it in a second. There we go. All right, move over. I like that. Just a little bit of a pop. Oh, that's good. That's good. Scary. There's my top. Now to find my rulers again. Once Beverly gets snow, she's done for. She'll be snowed in again. You can square up if you need to as you go. Again, this is really one of those things for, if you have the type of sewing and quilting mentality that allows you to just do a little free form and have fun, because I know some people have to be very structured, and that's fine too, because those are the people that make those gorgeous quilts for us. Thank you, thank you. So here it is. These are our two sides, and that should, you know what, we might even get lucky and it might fold over right on the purple, but it's a surprise. We won't know what it's going to be, because once we quilt it too, it could stretch out a little bit and change things up. So that's why sometimes I like to put just a solid fabric on the side and make it a little extra wide, so when I'm done quilting it, I can trim it to what I want. So now we are at, yeah, that puts us up to 16 3/4 by a crooked, it's 12 inches here, and it's 12.5 here. So this side is 12 inches and that side's 12.5. So whatever I put up top, I'll make extra wide and I'll just balance that out. So if I want this to be a little bit taller, so I'm figuring if we're making this, let's just say 17 inches, and we are at, we'll just go with 12 inches, that means we need to add 5 inches or so. So whether we put them all at the bottom, all at the top, or a little bit. So if I'm going to do 5 inches, maybe I'll put, I can make my bag taller than it is wide, so that's a thing there too. So I think I want to have wider on the bottom so that I don't lose all of it. If I'm going to be one of those quilters that can do everything perfectly and exactly, this would be really cool to have this be the bottom of my bag, and whatever I add on is what's going to go underneath. So that would need to be 2.5 inches or a little bit more to cover for quilting, but I'm not that type of quilter. So if I think I'm going to do 5 inches, I think I'll put 3 at the top and 4 at the bottom, give or take. Maybe 3 at the top and 5 at the bottom and make it a little bit of a taller bag. So now we can decide, what do we want to put? Do we want to put this dark up here then? So we want to put this dark purple at the, let's see, open it all the way up. So we can do, I like the way this is working out and having everything be equal on either side, if not like sort of kind of mirrored. So I think if we do, what size is this strip? This strip is 8 inches. I don't know, I think I have yardage of this, so I'm not going to worry too much. Yeah, that pop-up with this little thin dark purple there, I think it almost calls for having to use the same fabric at the top and bottom like this. So 4 at the bottom and 3 at the top. So that gives me 7 inches, and I can use this strip. 4, I'll write that down because I need to remember, 4 at the bottom, 3 at the top. So I'm going to add and do, now when I put this down, the parts down here, I'm not going to worry so much if this line is straight. If I just have a piece, say I wanted to put 4 at the bottom, so I want to maybe go 4.5 inches. If I've got 4.5 and 4 3/4 and 4.5, I'm not going to worry about that, because after I do all my quilting, then I can trim it up. So I can let this just be what this is. Other ruler. I now have 4 rulers in use. I'd really like, they're very expensive, but it would be you can do it without it, but wouldn't it be really cool to have one of those big like 24-inch or 18.5-inch square rulers? I think I saw a 24-inch one, but it's crazy to spend like $150 on a ruler or something like that when you can just deal with it and, you know, use your regular one. But how cool would that be if they'd make them actually affordable? So for the bottom, we'll do like 4.5 inches. Check out my fancy measuring. So I have 4.5 inches here. So I want to see how much I have left. I just kind of fold it over, and that gives me a little over 3. So maybe I'll bop this down to 4 1/4, just for trimming up purposes. That would still, if it's 4 inches, 3.5, still leave about 1 inch at the bottom. I think I'll go up a little bit more. That's about the only thing I think about is where it's going to end up in the seams. And I do like a narrower piece on the bottom. All right, Hazel, you're my favorite now. I do like to have a narrower piece at the top and a wider piece at the bottom. So that'll be that. And we'll lose about that much. So this will be the front of the bag once it's created and we have the gusset, and I think that's a nice little bit there. And this one ended up being about 3.5 inches, just like I liked. Now remember, at the top, we're really not going to lose much. We're going to lose a 1/4 inch when we sew it to here, and we're going to lose a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch. I usually figure about, because I think I usually do, what, a 3/8 inch seam along the edges and stuff. So you figure about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch off the top. And that'll give us a nice little narrow strip there and a narrow strip down there. Again, you can do all of that math to get it exactly perfect, but I'm going to do this kind of math. I'll just chop that off there. I'll just chop that off there. Which is why sometimes doing a tutorial is like, oh, I don't know, Jody. I haven't looked at Joann's. I just looked at Amazon when I was looking at different rulers. Because when I was going to square up the bag, I mean, it's fine. You cut one side and you cut the other. Like, because if you can square up a king size quilt, you can square up an 18.5 inch bag. So it's not that big of a deal. But I was just thinking, oh, wouldn't it be nice? And I just thought, well, let me see how much they cost. And I'm like, no, that's just too much. That's just too much. But I could go up to the plexiglass place and ask them to make me a ruler, because you don't need any of the lines in it. If you're just going to use it for squaring up to put the whole ruler down, I can get them to cut me something. So if you take up one of your rulers so that they get an idea of what they're looking for in the thickness and stuff, they can cut you something at the glass and plexiglass place. Or if your husband has the tools to do it himself, you know, he can do it for you. I've avoided Joann's for a while. It's not within my budget at the moment. Isn't that time, we all have that. It's like you have a time of year when money gets a little tighter, and then you have other times of the year when things are a little bit better. This is when I start watching my money a little more. You got the holidays coming up, and you got tax season for property tax and stuff. You just got to keep an eye on things. But I know I'm waiting. I don't need the Halloween fabric, so I'm kind of waiting a little bit. So when the Christmas starts coming out in full force, then I can shop the Halloween that's on sale, and then the Christmas that's coming in that's on sale. Joann's has 50% off or 40% off often with their coupons, at least. Everything I want is always on sale, so I don't use a coupon. I have all of Rob's tools. I probably could cut something myself. Teresa, bottom. Uh-oh, Teresa, I think you need to refresh. I think you're a little behind. Yeah, Hazel, right? I get that. I definitely have that too, but sometimes there's a little bit of extra if you're careful. That if it's just me, I don't always have to buy like fancy food, so I can take my food budget and put it into my fabric budget, because they both start with F, so I feel they're interchangeable. And in all honesty, I have enough fabric that I shouldn't be out looking at other fabric anyways. Just figure out things like this. So far we haven't cut into any yardage. Even when I made these blocks, I was using my scraps. So I haven't actually used any expensive fabric. So if you can, you know, hit up those scrap bins first. And if you don't live in Florida, or at least in my part of Florida, you can go to garage sales and thrift stores, and I hear, hi Paula, I hear other people have found like fabric at garage sales and thrift stores and stuff like that. Most people sell everything they have before they come to Florida, which is why you're finding it at thrift stores, but we don't have that. Boy, that's a lot of thunder. If I disappear, nope, I'm on my phone, I shouldn't disappear. Oh, look, it's after 4 already. By the way, we're only going to piece the outside. We're not going to do any of the quilting or anything like that. You guys can handle all that on your own. If you can't, just let me know and we can do it on another day. But I thought just figuring out how to build the panel out and figure out. Now everyone, it's going to be different for everyone else. Let me go press this. It's going to be different for everyone else, so you guys have to just take what you have and build it. If you want, you could take a piece of wrapping paper and cut it to the shape that you want your tote bag to be. So if you want to have it taller, I'm waiting for the iron to heat up. So if you want to have it a little bit narrow and tall, or if you want to have it square to start with and then fold it. So if you want to have the actual tote bag to be 16 inches square, you have to add in whatever you're going to do for your gussets. So you might have to add in that 2.5, 3 inches on the sides and bottom, so you have it exactly like that. You can always just lay your fabric down and, you know, see what it looks like and go from there. I do love the X and O calculator strip, and I definitely want to do the zigzag version. I am a little disappointed because I would have preferred to have this center part a little bit smaller so that I could have these calculator strips on the front. Some of it might end up on the front. We'll find out. The name of the video. Okay, if you look at the video that I put up today from 12 o'clock noon and it says, oops, I forgot this part, there's a link in that video to take you to the original video. It doesn't say anything about X and O block, but it has this picture in the little thumbnail. Something about making blocks from scraps or something. Because I have to check on the value of the title, because TubeBuddy will tell me if a lot of people are searching for it or if there's other videos out just like it. So I have to find this balance between what people search for and what is used and stuff, what I can use. Hi Sandra, well, I'm glad you made it for a little bit of it. Yep, replay is the most wonderful thing. I watch a lot of replays of other people, of course. Put that ruler over there. So that is the front of our block, of our bag. Wait, nope. That's the front of our bag. Nope, nope. Oh man, I sewed it on a different way. So I have, so you see I have these little bits right there? That's going to be at the top. If I put this at the top of my bag, I'm going to have these little gray bits and pink bits there. So I have to make, oh, Robin Suzanne. I have to take this off. I have to take both of these off and flop them. Because I was chatting and not paying attention. I could have done it on my own even without you guys. So don't look if you're nervous about seam rippers, about rotary blades, because I'm going to make someone very nervous. Let me get my other one. Not you. Not you. Here it is. I like this little smaller one. Actually I have a video for this from many years ago in the beginning of YouTube. I just kind of pull it so I could see the threads, and I just touch the threads to the blade. This blade is as old as my quilting career, to be honest with you. It's a 28 millimeter. I just touch the threads and they break. When I use a seam ripper, I always cut the fabric, especially on a long stretch like this. But watch me do something stupid today. But normally I don't cut the fabric when I do this. Now, a lot of times I tell you guys I just leave my mistakes because they don't care, but sometimes, as you see, they care. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Sue. Anyone else I missed it said that they like this? Thank you so much. Sometimes it bothers me, and I will take the time. I've learned that I've gone through and I've finished a project with a thing that bothers me in it because I'll just get over it. Get over it, Robin. It's not a big deal. It's fine. But at the end, I dislike the project because it has that oops in it that I don't like. So I've learned to, before I even think about it, to just go ahead and start ripping the seam and fix it because I'll like the finished product better. Even though I'm going to put this in my shop and it's not for me, I want to know that this little extra 1/4 inch seam of pink there, 1/4 inch blob, is going to be on the bottom of the bag and it's not going to matter. I will leave that instead of trying to put a bigger piece of pink in or something weird. That's too much like work. But this can come out. Hi, hello, 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 hello. Let me press these and I can take the threads out. So when it comes down to it, if it bothers you and it bothers you twice, then I would probably highly suggest taking out and fixing whatever it is that's bothering you. Sorry if I wasn't loud enough when I was over there at the ironing station, but if it's going to bother you, it's got to come out. My first thought was, can I just sew an extra piece of fabric on the bottom and make it wider? Because I could have done that too. But I'm like, no, Robin. Do it right. It's just a seam. Oh, and don't say, these threads don't matter, I'll just leave them in. Because unless you make the seam deeper next time. Now, when I have this seam right here, I will sew it on this side this time just to avoid any type of little bit of oops or something in there. But for the most part, my favorite online fabric store, I like fabric.com. That's where I bought the purple and the gray and the pink. They have great prices. They have a wide variety of them. They have novelty and holiday and regular. They have these gorgeous, I bought extra wide 108-inch blender fabric for $7.99 a yard. I watch for sales because they do have some good sales, and then that saves me money so that I can buy more, because at Joann's, blender fabric is definitely a lot more than $7.99 a yard. I want to say it's like $12.99 to $15.99. Unless I'm lying and it's $9.99, but still, all those 99s, you're saving some pennies. And I feel better if I save some pennies. Like I shop at Kohl's. I don't care if they raise the prices up so that when I get a discount, I'm really not saving money. I just walk out of there feeling good because I saved some money. And their clothes are really good quality. I do watch for clearance and I buy out of season, because even though Florida doesn't have a season, like we wear shorts year round, they still sell winter clothing down here, including like parkas and stuff like that for the grandparents to buy for their grandkids. So when the seasons change, like I'll be looking for summer clothes coming up soon because they'll have a really good sale on them. All right. Fabric funding job. Hello, hello. All right, so, oops, didn't get this one. Yeah, it's Friday at almost 4:30 now. A lot of people are finishing up. I've heard the school buses go by already. It's my craft room and I'll vacuum if I have to. Okay, so here's the pink ones. We want that on the bottom. This one is wider, correct? Correct. So let's try this again. Now you can do the same process if all you have is little half square triangles. So you could take, I have my other bin. Look at what I found. It's So I found these. Those will be a fun tote for someone. I found, either someone sent me this, but I kind of think this is from a swap. And I found these. Now you see how big these are? Now I could take this and I could either pull the seams apart because of the way it's sewn, or I could chop it into pieces and still use that. I found this is like a table runner, but look, there's a front and back of a tote bag. So you could take any of these little pieces that you might have. Like I have a bunch of these when I made this, they're Chinese lanterns. So I made a little small wall hanging. So you can piece your entire bag in just those pieces and just these half square triangles and stuff like that. So you don't have to have like a whole panel type thing or a large piece like I do. You can start with the smallest things. You can just sew a whole bunch of black and white squares together and call it a day, and you'd still have an amazing tote. Ouch, chair. Oh, Marshall Dry Goods, that's a new one for me that I've heard about from you guys. They sound like they have some really good prices. And they got good selection of fabrics. I've bookmarked it, but I haven't shopped there yet. Lisa's probably the one that told me about it. Totally blame her. All right, think twice. Okay. I think I want to sew it this way this time, though. A lot of times we have one quilt store that I have to go at a foot of a very busy bridge in a back neighborhood to get to, and it's not where I normally travel. So while I'd love to go to the quilt store because they have that Florida line with all those gorgeous flamingos and other, you know, Florida-ish type fabric, I thought that's really beautiful. But then the prices are just so high, and I'm pretty sure usually quilt shops let you buy small amounts, so I thought I would just go and maybe take a little field trip up there and buy some quarter yards. Just to see the difference between quilt shop quality and regular and stuff like that. I could buy some of the fancier, expensive ones. All right, then this. God, I thought I screwed up again. I hear you, Morsey. If it's thundering and possibly raining out there, that means I don't have to mow the yard because it needs to be mowed again. It always needs to be mowed. My neighbors on either side, they both have lawn services, so they always make my yard look like a jungle because they get theirs mowed regularly. I'm like, oh well, you guys don't go outside. Oh man, that's a little short. Son of a gun. Bet you because I trimmed it up or something, didn't I? It's okay. It's gonna work. All right. So we have these little bits down here. You see that little bit there, that little bit there. But you know what, when I put, it's nowhere near it. So when I put, yeah, it's nowhere near the 2.5 inches on the bottom, Robin Suzanne, I tell ya. Yes, I say my full name when I talk to myself. Well, Paula, it all depends on how you look at it. If you look at it to where I have this project, you know, if you want to, let me think. However you say it, if you take your fabric and say, what project can I make from the fabric I have? Or if you take a pattern and say, oh, I want to make it with this fabric. Oh, I don't have enough, I have to go buy it. So if you just kind of change your mindset a little bit and try to do that, but it's also important to reward yourself. So whether it's just going out and getting one little something or just congratulating yourself because you got rid of the fabric and throwing yourself a little bit of a hoo-ha party. So I don't know. I try to use my stash. I try to look at my fabric and see what works. The problem comes when someone requests something. Nobody ever wants what I already have. They always seem to want something that I don't have, so I have to go shopping. And when you shop online, it's hard because for those of you that are buying by yardages, that's great. You can go ahead and pick up 2-3 yards. But me, I just want to have like a 1/4 yard, and you can't buy that online. You made it 3 weeks. Woohoo! I got threads everywhere. So that's it, guys. Does anyone have any questions about Frankentotes? You guys kind of figure out, do you see how I process everything? See, I would have deleted this in a video when at the end of the day my mind goes numb. Do you see how my process is and how I just audition fabrics and I try to see, well, what will look good? And you could always unpick a seam if you didn't like the way it looked and just remove that fabric. You don't have to keep it on. If I didn't like this little purple or the gray, I could have removed it. So I like to just lay the fabric, excuse me a second. I like to lay that fabric like we do for checking out for borders on a quilt. Lay it underneath in the sea. And you could build your whole project out that way by just laying out fabric and putting in little blocks and saying, do I like this? And the best thing with these totes is there's 2 sides. So whatever you did on one side, if you wanted to try something different, now my other side is going to look totally different. I will skip the calculator tape and maybe I'll put some of these in, build them up. I do have this nice batch and I'm going to use this fabric definitely. So I have my O. That I can lay down and I can just decide that I want to build something up. Or so I decide like, well, I like to have square triangles, so maybe I need to make more of those and just not have them in that black that is just not working for me. But these would make nice flying geese. So I could turn these into flying geese because I have pinks and purples. If you do those 4 at a time flying geese, then you'll have a nice little selection. So just because I have half square triangles, remember they turn into everything. You can go ahead, thank you, Sue. You can go ahead, thanks, Wendy. You can go ahead and change it up and everything like that. Yes, thumbs up, everyone, please. Thank you so much. We're pretty close. We got 41 thumbs up and 46 people watching. So you can do these things and you can mix and match them. Hold on. I got a tickle in my throat now. So you can, I tried to make sure I had it even. So there's a thunder. So you could piece it like this. Or you can decide to highlight the color and the solidish color and put that on the inside like that. Sorry. I could do my purples instead. I can mix them up. But as you see, I made these specifically for this project, and I thought, I like this black as a long piece, and I thought it'd be a great highlight, but it wasn't. So it didn't work. So now I have these for another project. Paula, have you ever joined one of those groups where they do the UFOs, like Quilting Around the World? They've been doing the annual UFO challenge for probably 5 or 6 years. I did it for, I think, 2.5 years until I ran out of UFOs that I wanted to work on. Sorry, guys. What they do is you make a list of all your UFOs and you number them, and the moderator, either her or her kids usually, they will choose like 3 numbers for that month. So if you're we're in August, so maybe the numbers are 8, 12, and 19. So you look down your list, and those are the 3 projects that you put the most time into that month. You don't have to finish them, but you're supposed to put in like an hour or 2 a week, or 20 minutes a day or something. A lot of the women there are grandmas that are retired and stuff, so they do 20 minutes a day. So at the end of the year, you've done 12 to 36 projects and either worked on them or finished them. And you're allowed to like carry them over to the next month. So if you didn't finish number 10, you might want to go ahead and work on number 10 the next month. So as long as you're working on a UFO, it works. So I think being in groups like that are really helpful. They really motivate you. Although you do win prizes and it's fabrics, so that could be a little bit. And if you don't want to do it in a group, you can just number the UFOs that you want to work in, and then just pull numbers out of the hat. Or I know there's an app somewhere on the phone that does like a spinning wheel, like a roulette wheel, and then whatever number it lands on, that's the UFO you work on. I know knitters do that. So if anyone has any questions, this is going to be about it for us. Underneath the Sue, underneath the video, you should see a gray thumbs up and a gray thumbs down, share and save, and then you just hit it and it'll turn blue. No, Quilting Around the World is an actual website. Let me pull them up for you. Now, for the replay people, it takes at least 24 hours for these the chats to come back up, so you guys might not see them right away. This group does swaps and stuff like that. Once you join, even if you don't want to be part of groups, you can just follow along and let them pull the number, or you can just see what they're doing. It is required that you post in the forum once every 3 months, once a month. I don't know. I have an alert on my phone to post every month so I don't get kicked out. Because if you're not an active member, they don't want to, they have certain, they have their own like bandwidth or whatever. I don't understand any of that stuff, but they do all that. Jody, shh. That's why I love this time. It's 3 o'clock. I already had lunch and I worked all day. So I really do think that this 3 o'clock on Fridays is going to work. We'll try it for a while and see, and if it doesn't work, we'll try something else. Excellent, excellent. So thank you, everyone. Sue, since you've been on it for a while, if you were to refresh it, but don't refresh it because, then you'd have to come back on and we're almost done. But if you want to check afterwards, the thumbs up doesn't always change while you're watching. So like right now, mine says 49, but sometimes when I'm watching, it might only say 4, and it doesn't keep it up to date. But I think it's doing it for me because, it's my YouTube. Thank you, thank you. Let's put that back out here so we can all see it. Yeah, they're from all over the world. There's a lot here in the United States, but they are from all over the world. They were doing fabric postcards. We did the fabric postcard exchange. They do a lot of blocks where, let's just say they're making these, and they do it, you need at least 6 people to join the swap, excuse me. So you'll have to make like 6 of this block and then 1 for yourself. You put them in a little Ziploc envelope, you mail them out. I don't do those swaps because I don't need more blocks coming in. I need to, get things done and take it out. Bye, Paula. I hope everyone has an amazing weekend. Thank you for joining me. Remember, we're going to come back on September 3rd and we're going to make the lining for these. So if you want to do the lining with the zipper on the inside, go ahead and get your panels made. Get them quilted up if you're going to quilt them. I like to have mine quilted, or you can just use some fusible fleece on it. You can make these really small too, you guys. You don't have to make them super big. And then, yeah, so if you have it all done, if not, no big deal, you can do it later. But that next live, we're going to do the lining with the zipper. You'll get the tutorial earlier in the morning, and then we'll do it in the afternoon. And we'll still keep working on this bag. You guys will probably, I'm sure, see the rest of it in a Whip It Wednesday before that time. So I'm out of breath. Thanks for hanging out. Everyone enjoy your weekend. Bye. Oops, I got to turn you off over here. Just because I say goodbye doesn't mean it stops running.